The Philadelphia Eagles did not spend this offseason acting scared. They lost A.J. Brown, changed the offense around Jalen Hurts, added more speed on defense, and still walked out of minicamp looking like a team that knew something the rest of the league had not figured out yet. That is the part that should make the NFC East nervous. This was not panic. This was a reset with teeth. Howie Roseman moved one star, opened new doors for Devonta Smith, brought in younger weapons, and then kept stacking the defense like the job was not finished. The offense already feels different. Sean Mannion has Jalen Hurts working in a system that wants him moving, selling the run, throwing on time, and making easy yards feel dangerous again. Mekhi Lemon arrives as the rookie with pressure on his name. Dontavion Wicks gives this room a sharp new edge. Hollywood Brown and Elijah Moore add speed that can stretch the field in a hurry. On paper, losing A.J. Brown should have made the Eagles look smaller. Instead, it made their plan louder. They are not trying to copy the old version. They are trying to build a faster one. And then there is the defense, where the real warning sign starts to flash. Vic Fangio now has Reek Woolen, Quinion Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean in a secondary that can squeeze quarterbacks before the pass rush even lands. Jalen Carter still has mystery around him. Uar Bernard is the wild rookie project nobody can ignore. And A.J. Epinesa gives the front another body with real pass rush history. The Eagles look changed, but not weaker. They look colder, more calculated. And if this whole thing works, it starts with the one player who has to make the new offense breathe. Jalen Hurts. Something about this Philadelphia Eagles offense feels different, and it starts with Jalen Hurts being pushed into a football world that no longer lets him sit still. Sean Mannion is asking him to play with more timing, more movement, and more trust. That sounds simple, but for a quarterback who has carried so much with strength and calm, this is a real test. The ball has to come out cleaner now. The run fake has to sell harder. The feet have to match the read. Hurts is not just learning plays, he is learning a new rhythm, and that is where this gets interesting. The offense wants him under center, turning his back to the defense, rolling into space, and forcing linebackers to freeze for one extra breath. That one breath can open everything. Saquon Barkley out of the backfield. Dallas Goedert over the middle. A quick shot outside before the corner even settles. This is the kind of system that can make hard yards feel cheap when it clicks. But minicamp did not hand them a perfect story. The defense had wins. Throws were not always clean. Timing still looked young. And that is exactly why the next few weeks matter so much. If Hurts owns this system by training camp, the Eagles become harder to read than they were before. If he does not, the new weapons will have to carry pressure fast, starting with the receiver room that changed overnight, and may decide this whole season early. The moment A.J. Brown left for the New England Patriots, the easy take was that the Philadelphia Eagles had lost their bite. That sounds neat, but it misses the real story. Howie Roseman did not replace one giant receiver with another giant receiver. He changed the shape of the room. Now every snap can look lighter, quicker, and harder to track. Devonta Smith is no longer waiting behind a louder name. This is his stage now, and that matters because his game is built on clean routes, sudden breaks, and trust with Jalen Hurts. Then comes Mekhi Lemon, the rookie from USC who brings first-round pressure the second he walks into the building. He does not need to become a star overnight. He needs to make defenses respect the other side of the field. That alone changes the spacing. Dontavion Wicks brings sharp movement and strong hands. Hollywood Brown brings speed that scares safeties. Elijah Moore gives the middle of the field another problem. The Eagles did not build this room for old highlights. They built it for a new offense that wants choices everywhere. One receiver wins short. One stretches deep. One attacks space. One punishes soft coverage. That is how a group survives losing a star without pretending it never happened. But receivers only unlock half the picture, because the backfield has a hidden piece that could make this system feel even more dangerous. And that is where the next hidden twist starts to matter very fast. The hidden piece in this Philadelphia Eagles offense is not some loud headline. It is the way Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby can make the same play feel different every time. Barkley still brings the star power, the patience, the jump cut, the burst that makes one missed tackle turn into trouble. But Bigsby brings a rougher feel. One step, one crease, downhill fast. That matters in a system built to punish hesitation. Here is why this changes the math for Jalen Hurts. When the run game looks real, linebackers stop flying backward. Safeties cheat forward. Corners peek inside. That tiny pause gives Sean Mannion room to call the easy throw that becomes a painful gain. Bigsby catching the ball out of the backfield is not just a cute spring note. It is a warning. If he can win in space, the defense cannot treat him like a simple backup. They have to respect the screen, the flat, the check down, and the cutback. Even the quarterback room carries pressure behind the curtain. Tanner McKee is not a rookie, and this is his chance to prove he can be trusted if the season gets tense. Andy Dalton brings experience, but experience alone does not win a camp battle. The Eagles need steady hands behind Hurts, because this offense has too many moving parts to waste snaps. And once the backfield settles, the story turns darker, straight into the mystery around Jalen Carter, now waiting on the other side of the ball. The strangest part of the Philadelphia Eagles spring was not a bad throw or a missed catch. It was Jalen Carter working like normal in individual drills, then disappearing when team periods began. That is not something fans ignore. He is too important, too powerful, too central to everything Vic Fangio wants this defense to become. The team did not give a clean answer, and that made the room louder. Nick Sirianni had the chance to shut it down, but he stayed careful. Maybe it was protection after the shoulder problems from last season. Maybe it was tied to a future deal. Nobody outside the building can say that with proof. That matters, because pretending to know would be lazy. The smart read is patience, not panic. A real holdout usually looks colder than this. Carter still showed up. He still worked. He still looked locked in. Here's the part that keeps the Eagles calm. They are not thin up front. Jordan Davis can crush space. Moro Ojomo has grown into a trusted piece. Jonathan Greenard gives the edge group real bite. The market around stars like Chris Jones only makes Carter more valuable, but Philadelphia has time to handle it. The mystery is not danger yet, it is pressure. And that pressure leads straight to the wildest defensive bet on the roster. His name is UR Bernard, and his story feels almost unreal right now. The wildest name in this Philadelphia Eagles story is UR Bernard, because his path does not sound normal. He is not another polished rookie who came from a huge college program with years of tape. He came from Nigeria, entered football through the international pathway, and still became the kind of player Philadelphia was willing to draft late because the body is too rare to ignore. Think about what that means for a second. A man that big should not move like that. Bernard has the size to live inside, but the burst makes coaches wonder how many places he could fit. That is why the Jordan Mailata comparison keeps following him, not because he is already that kind of player, but because the Eagles have seen this movie before. They know raw talent needs time, trust, and a room that will not panic when the first few steps look ugly. Osi Umenyiora helped put him on the map. Clint Hurt now gets the real project. And Philadelphia can afford to be patient because the trenches are already protected. Cam Jurgens is trying to come back stronger. Landon Dickerson gives the line its mean streak when healthy. Michael Jordan adds veteran cover inside. That is the secret part. Bernard does not need to save the team today. He needs to grow until his tools become real football power. And if that happens, the next problem for opponents will not be years away. It may start with the secondary right now. The next problem for the NFC East is not just pressure. It is where the ball can even go. Vic Fangio now has Rick Woolen, Quinion Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean sitting in one secondary, and that changes the entire feeling of a Sunday. There is length outside, there is speed outside, there is control inside. That is a nasty mix. Woolen gives the Philadelphia Eagles something every defense wants but few actually have. A tall corner who can run with deep speed and still shrink the catch point with those long arms. He is not here to be a headline only. He is here to make quarterbacks pause before testing the boundary. Mitchell already plays with the calm of a corner who does not need noise to win. DeJean brings that slot toughness, the quick trigger, the tackling edge, and the kind of awareness that turns a small mistake into a stolen possession. That is why this group feels bigger than names on a depth chart. The Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, and Washington Commanders now have to solve coverage before they even talk about the rush. One missed read, one late throw, one forced ball, and the Eagles can flip a game without warning. And if the coverage holds this tightly, the final clue is obvious. Howie Roseman was not finished with the pass rush either. That is exactly where the next quiet move lands. The final clue in this Philadelphia Eagles plan arrived after most teams would have stopped shopping. Howie Roseman looked at a defense that had length, youth, and speed, then still added A.J. Epinesa. That is the whole point. Philadelphia is not chasing one perfect star. They are collecting useful problems for opponents. Epinesa comes from the Buffalo Bills with real snaps behind him, real playoff experience, and 24 career sacks on his record. He is not being asked to rescue the front. That is what makes the move smart. He can rotate with Jonathan Greenard, Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith Jr., and Arnold Ebiketie. giving Vic Fangio more bodies to keep rushers fresh when the fourth quarter gets heavy. His best value may not even be one huge play. It may be the steady edge, the tipped pass, the forced throw, the snap that makes a quarterback speed up before he wants to. That is how this roster makes sense. The offense is learning a new voice. The receivers are changing shape. The backfield has extra bite. The secondary can squeeze windows. The line still has answers. And now the pass rush gets one more proven piece at a price that does not trap the team. Maybe Epinesa becomes a rotation player. Maybe the room gets harder to crack. Either way, the message is clear. The Eagles did not guess their way into this plan. They built it step by step, and the NFC East has to deal with it.